3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Yes, got it right here. And we're back. Blaine, how about now? Should be able to hear me now. Coming through loud and clear now. It is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, as well, of course, coming up here on the Pop Culture Cosmos, it is the State of Pro Wrestling. State of Pro Wrestling, John Orlando and I cover the latest goings on for both the WWE and AEW as they head to an all-important July. So go ahead and hear what we have to say about All In Texas, about also as well WWE Evolution, Saturday Night's Main Event, and is it going to be Goldberg's last match? All this and more. So go ahead. And King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring as well. Go ahead and check out the latest Pop Culture Cosmos coming this weekend to Apple Podcasts and also as well, of course, Spotify. Go ahead and give it that thumbs up, 5 stars, and go ahead and make sure you subscribe right there for you at the Pop Culture Cosmos indeed. Also as well, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Go ahead and check that out here when we go ahead and cover the football season upcoming. Of course, all my good friends that are out there, the Lakerholics crew are coming on. I believe they're scheduling it for Saturday at noon. I will be on at Saturday at 1:30 with Stone Hansen, our draft expert. He's going to tell you what he thinks of the Lakers draft and the NBA draft as a whole, coming up here on Saturday at 1:30. I'll go ahead and schedule that out here in a little bit. Because also as well, of course, the Lakerholics crew at Lakerholics.com. Empire Jeff covering the Lakers and Dodgers at Empire Jeff TV. Joe Soro, who was on the playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, his own channel on YouTube, the Joe Soro channel. Go ahead and make sure you like and subscribe there. But I want to give a big shout out to everybody who was there with us during the course of playback. And I know you guys were on way after. I was kept an eye on you guys. You guys kept chit-chatting and whatnot, so I didn't turn it off. I wanted to wait until you guys were all heading out of there. But you guys were on quite a while for the second round of the NBA draft and afterwards on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. What's up, Mark? Great to have you here, Xbox. Blaine was there. Not Sure was there. And, of course, Joe was there in the chat. But we also had a great crew of Tough. Big shout out to him. Also as well, Div X-Ray was in the chat. Of course, Sean, Nick. Just a great crowd was there. Lakers Zach stopped by late. So, yeah, go ahead and make sure you're part of what we do in the future. I believe we'll have the Summer League games. Whether I am in UNLV, the Thomas and Mack Center, watching the game, I will try to have all the Lakers games up on the Summer League when they come around right there for you on playback as well. So go ahead and make sure you check us out there, but also make sure you keep checking us out here. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe today to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. Xbox, an Australian, was actually drafted in the second round, but the Lakers didn't draft it. But they drafted someone else. The Lakers, earlier in the day, they traded the number 55 pick and cash to move up to the number 45 pick. But it became increasingly aware by everyone that whoever the Lakers were going to target was not going to be available, in their opinion, at the number 45 pick. So they went to Minnesota, who had made a trade, I believe, with Brooklyn earlier for the number 36 pick. So the Lakers traded the number 45 pick and cash, essentially hard capping themselves in the process. But they moved up to the number 36 pick. No, he's undrafted ER. We'll explain that for you in a second. But yes, they drafted, let me go ahead and make sure I got this right. Adou Thiero out of Alabama. He's a 6'7" swingman. I can tell you right now, Stone is happy about the selection. But when you look deeper in there, I looked quite a bit at his game footage, not just the highlights, but the game footage. I am not as happy about that. I know we obviously had a need and still have a need to pick up a big man or two, and the Lakers did not address that. He is a good defensive wing, which I think is what is making Stone very happy, but Very suspect as far as his shooting. If you want to go ahead and take a look at the numbers, they're not too great. Under 70% shooting and well under 30% from the 3-point line. So I know that the comparisons to Vando were quite hot and heavy in the playback chat. So yeah, literally Jared Vanderbilt. Yes, someone, you hit it right in the head. You were there. Yes. So absolutely. Yep, correct. A lot of people were looking forward to seeing if the Lakers moved up twice, they would actually get a center because there were still big men available. And unfortunately, uh, yeah, we've got this guy instead. Lakers need athleticism. Lakers need athletic wings who can defend on the perimeter. Absolutely. I'm not going to dissuade from them. I'm not going to argue against that. But the Lakers still have a glaring need at the center position. And yeah, Gregory says he likes the pick. The only thing, Gregory, is, again, can he develop his shooting skills? I understand he attacks the basket. I understand that he shoots a lot of free throws, but he doesn't make them at a good enough rate right now, under 70% from the free throw line and well under 30% from the 3-point line. Yeah, he is a better finisher at the rim. But again, the question is, if teams are going to lay off him because they know he can't hit the shot, how many times can he really effectively drive to the basket? That is the problem. Well, Malak would have been a good pick, Joe. Joe Porro. Yes, yes, definitely indeed. So I'm assuming you're the same guy that was here yesterday as far as uh, giving Joe some problems. But yeah, the Lakers could have had a center, and they chose not to. But we'll wait and see. But afterwards, after the draft was finished, the Lakers did pick up a Villanova forward, 6'8", very husky 250 per se. Eric Dixon, who led, I believe, was the leader in scoring in the NCAA. He shoots very well at a clip of 40% from 3-point line and also close to 90%. No, just a little over 90% from the free throw line and 40% from the 3-point line. But he's got several defensive deficiencies and he doesn't rebound well for a guy his size. So these are the things he needs to address. So the Lakers, basically, in a nutshell, went one way in one direction and another way in another direction. They didn't get a player that's right now at this stage efficient on both ends. Yeah, of the spectrum. So yeah, at least Rob actually did something, though, someone. But as JSJ put it, JSJ talked about how Sean and I, who was on stage, Vari, Tough were there, why we were so a little bit depressed. It's regard because there's a glaring need for the Lakers, and they still have not yet to address this. And if they do address it now, it's looking more and more like the options for the Lakers are getting kind of slim. So we got a Joe Soro and a Joe Porro in the chat today. So it's very interesting to see how this will flow. But it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. Gregory said, yes, he needs to work on a shot. Yeah, no kidding. That's the understatement of the day. Yes, they do need more to center. We've said that several times, Gregory, on the show. We've said that several times on the program. They need to increase their depth overall quite dramatically. Athleticism out there on the wing, defensive perimeter defense, that obviously all these things need to be addressed. Shooting as well, better shooting than what Austin Reeves gives us as a 35% shooter. Obviously, it'd be great if we got a 40% shooter that can defend along the perimeter. That would be great if we could get something like that at some point in time as well. But depth for increasing our rotation with efficient players. And then also as well, of course, a big man in the middle is what we were looking for, Gregory. So yeah, again, this guy, very good on the defensive end, can take it to the rim. But as you and I both know, in the NBA, if you are not proficient from the outside, it makes it a lot harder to go ahead and drive the basketball. Just ask Russell Westbrook. I mean, Russell Westbrook has had a career where teams lay off him, and if he's not hitting his 3-point shot, it's very hard for him to go ahead and do what he needs to do. But great to have you guys here. It is, of course, the Lakers fast break. Hoping Joe, the real Joe Soro, Sean, maybe John Costa, maybe one of those guys will stop in. If you can, more than welcome to. The, JY said this is way Rob is going to get fired if he's not drafting clutch clients. He does not know what to do. Yes. Elephant in the room. Yes. The second round draft pick that we got, Adou Thiero, is a clutch client. Yes, he is a clutch client. That's the thing. DivX Ray Dixon is a 3-point shooter. Yeah, 40% 3-point shooter, 90% from the line. One of the leaders in last year's scoring in college basketball. But again, rebounding for a guy 6'8", 250 was suspect. Can he play defense? Because he is a big guy physically. So we'll see if he can actually do that. Joe Poro said, Gerald, why didn't we go all in on Thomas Sorber and Malak? I'm not super high on Sorber, but he isn't. He's 6'10". I think I'm not sure if he's going to be a starter in the league, but again, he would be an upgrade over what we had and Malak. But obviously, the Lakers didn't feel like it was necessary to go ahead and go out and make the assets available to make that trade. Their assessment on the center position, I guess, is different from ours. Tough. So, yeah, great to have you, by the way. Thank you again for coming on stage both days. It was truly great to meet you live in a living color and your wife. So, yeah, it was great to meet you both on our stage on playback. Yes, the Reeves situation as well. I'm going to dedicate an episode probably Friday to that entire, but to give everyone an update on that as well. It was the reports came out also today that earlier this week, Austin Reeves turned down an extension offer from the Lakers, value at 4 years, $89.5 million. So he turned down that contract extension from the offer from the Lakers. So we'll wait and see how that develops. Does he become a unrestricted free agent now at this point? Because he'll waive most likely his last year on his contract and become an unrestricted free agent next summer. We'll see if that materializes. Now he can reassign with the Lakers, but probably much more. If he has another 25-5 season, he'll have much more on the plate than a 4 years, $89.5 million deal on the table. Dan Inspiration said, I think the Lakers wanted Ryan Kalkbrenner, but he was gone. That was mentioned out there on the internet, on Twitter beforehand. But yes, I mean, the Lakers initially got moved up to 45, realized they were not going to get someone that they were interested in enough at 45. So they moved up to 36. They needed to move up to 31, 32. I know that they couldn't probably talk to Charlotte because Charlotte's still pissed off at him because Charlotte had those 33 and 34 picks. But obviously, after what went down with Mark Williams, they didn't want to go ahead and talk to the Lakers. But can the Lakers pick up Boban Marinovic as the starter, Gerald? That would be a great fit alongside. Well, I'm sure he's out there somewhere I'm sure he's out there somewhere, ER. Frank said, isn't Dorian Finney-Smith also leaving the Lakers to be a free agent? He has not decided yet, Frank, if he's declining his last year, his player option yet. He has not given official word to the Lakers as of yet. But if he does, we will obviously update that with you. But at this point in time, it's funny because if you talked to somebody last month, a lot of the insiders, quote unquote, had said that he was leaning towards picking up the last year of his contract. Now, if you talk to a lot of the insiders, most of them in the past couple of days have said that he might be leaning towards not picking up. But if he doesn't pick it up, we'll let you know. Bloodhound said Reynolds' issue is that he gets played off the floor with his defense. That's a possibility, Bloodhound. I know that he was a pretty decent. He's a decent rim protector at times, but that shooting stroke of his. He's a better shooter right now at this stage of. All right, have I got you back here? Okay. It is, of course, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching and listening. Truly appreciate you joining us. It is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Cannot thank you enough for joining us. Joe, Come on stage, my friend, because I might need your help here because my headset may be having a little bit of an issue here. But if that's the case, again, Dixon is the one I may be keying on. He may look better in summer league than Adou initially, but the thing is, what can Adou do for us right away as far as on the defensive end? Joe Poro said, Gerald, what were the best centers in the draft? Well, if you look through the tea leaves, Malak, from a defensive standpoint, probably the best defensive center in the draft right there. Kalkbrenner was pretty good defensively as well. Renaud was number 14 on Stone Hansen's rankings. So he was still available at points in time in the second round. So that could have been something that the Lakers could have gone for right there. He was obviously gifted on both sides, but again, yes, I know as mentioned by Bloodhound, he still gets played off the floor a little bit on the defensive end, but he can shoot the three and stretch the floor. I know a lot of people liked Niederhauser. I remind him as far as very athletic, 7-footer, not a center per se, 100%, more like a power forward center, but at 7 feet, someone very athletic and actually can go ahead and works very well off the pick and roll. He was very good as well. Zakarski is a project. He's very young, and also didn't get a whole lot of experience playing overseas yet. So Zakarski is 7'4", so you can't teach that. Hanson Yang, most people had in the second round. Talented kid. I watched a lot of film on him, but he's not the 16th pick in the draft at this stage of his career. But up to Portland to go ahead and say otherwise. But here today to discuss the Lakers draft and even undrafted players. Also want to mention as well that the Lakers did sign former UNC guard RJ Davis to an Exhibit 10 deal. We'll see how long that lasts for him. It is, of course, Joe Soro. Joe, good to have you here. The Lakers scouts said they had a first-round grade on Adou Thiero. Of course, they always say that. We have seen before the highs and lows of Laker drafting. The low, you and I were actually live on the air with JHS, a real low that John Costa reminded us earlier today on YouTube. Thanks a lot, John. Really appreciate the headache. Your thoughts on this? Again, a lot of similarities to Vando. Can drive to the basket and handle the ball a little bit better than Vando. Hopefully he will be able to catch the ball, unlike Vando. But that shooting stroke, my friend, it has a lot of work to do.
I don't know a lot about him either, but I seriously doubt he's going to look like Vando because Vando turns into a pumpkin when he gets the ball under the rim. Everything that
from a defensive standpoint, that was the comparisons as far as defensively.
Well, if you're in agreement that this was the best player available, maybe there's some truth there. You can't just go pick a center because you need a center. The NBA draft is about trying to get the best talented player when you can get that player. There's been too much history when you pick based off position where you end up regretting it. And the Lakers had to make the right. I don't know what was going on with them going up as far as they did.
Twice because they moved up to 45 and then to 36.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about. I would, unless they really thought that unless this is somebody they really wanted and thought they'd get him when they got him. I guess we'll find out when Backstage Lakers comes on because they usually show what's up with that. I have no idea who he is. I didn't watch a lot of Arkansas basketball, and Calipari, of course, is going to get on TV and tell us he's going to be the next so-and-so or he's great and all that, but I don't.
Oh, he's, I mean, to his credit, he's a fantastic used car salesman. I mean, the amount of, I would say, oil off that man's, from his soul to his bones, is probably only eclipsed by like P.T. Barnum and the guy who fooled everybody with the carnival weight loss thing, like those kinds of people, because he could sell shit to a farmer.
Well, he goes into families' homes and tries to sell.
Literally lies. Yeah, right to your face. Like he will lie to your face
just to get the kid recruited. So, but Joe, back to you, my friend. Before I hit it over back
Pardon
to Sean.
me, Joe.
No
I
worries.
just need to get that out. By the way, the difference between him and Rick Pitino is that when a guy once told Rick Pitino, Coach, I'm bringing a briefcase to school every day because I want to be a successful businessman. Rick Pitino helped that kid through school. Do you know who that kid was, guys?
Who's that?
Jamal Mashburn.
There you go.
One of the biggest success stories as a businessman outside of the NBA. I would say him, Junior Bridgman, and Magic are the top three.
JY, you're not talking to the Max Christie fan club when you talk to us on that, but we can tell you probably off the top of our heads 10 to 15 picks that were better than him. Now, mind you, getting a rotation player in the second round is good. Obviously, it's very good. But Joe, do you see Adou Thiero as a possible rotation player? I mean, he brings athleticism. Bloodhound is correct. He brings athleticism, which is something the Lakers sorely need, and defensive defense on the perimeter. But that shot, if it stays right in the 26% range like it did in college, the college three-point line, when you're shooting from the college three-point line at 26%, and as Magic said, he goes to the line a lot because he drives the basketball a lot, but then he only shoots 68% and makes 68% of his free throws. There's a lot of work to do on that end as well, Joe.
You're not going to get every player on the team that can shoot. So the team has enough shooters. They do need defense, and they do need someone that can actually get to the basket and not mess up, which is kind of half their problem when it matters. He's a rookie picked in the second round. I'm not going to put too much pressure on him to be something this year. That's not something that's realistic.
And that's fair. That's very fair.
I think the reality of it all, if I had to go a certain ways, I think they did move up as high as they could, and they missed. I think they missed who they wanted, which was Kalkbrenner. I think they missed them by what, two spots. I think that's who they were going after. Which means they probably, when you look at the trading partners between 1 and 4. You had Minnesota, you had the Boston, and then of course the next 2 picks were Charlotte. So you weren't going to be able to call Charlotte up and go, "Hey, you guys want some money?"
Gerald called it. He said, "Watch, Charlotte's going to take 2 bigs. Watch." They're going to take 2 bigs.
They took one.
Well, they took a forward and they took a center. So technically, they took
true.
2 players in the front court, Gerald. You were right. They took 2 bigs.
It's unfortunate because that's the one place a guy like that should not go. Charlotte is an abysmal franchise in terms of basketball. He's gonna play over there. However, he's gonna play, and I don't know what kind of development he's gonna have. What's LaMelo Ball gonna do for him? Nothing. I don't. You ruin this kid's career so that you can stop him from being a Laker. I mean, what did you really
get him
need
some
him
rebounds with all the shots that Ball's
and they'll still win 29 games a year and still not win the lottery. So what's
I don't
the
think
point?
even that much, Joe. ER, you're preaching to the choir on that one, as JSJ would say. You're preaching to the choir on that one with Zubats. But again, the question was put out there, Magic Man, about
first of all, Bloodhound, I'm not complaining about anything with Rob. I think the guys around me right now are.
I will.
The thing is, Gerald and Sean they're not intimately involved with the new regime that's about to come. I have zero concern as of right now. I don't care what Rob could have drafted the next you could say Zubac or the next Jokic. It doesn't matter. This new regime is going to bring in their own people. They're probably going to bring in their own coach too. So don't get too comfortable with Rob and the 1980s group that hovers around Genie. It's just not going to be realistic. You don't pay what will reportedly be $12 billion so that you can have a bunch of ham and eggers running your shit. It's just not going to happen. This thing is going to be set right. It's just going to take a minute to go that way. So don't get too comfortable with what's going on with the leadership right now. It is going to change, and there's going to be the correct leadership as time passes on, not too long from now, obviously.
Sean, let me get it over to you. Magic Man Sean Grice, one half of the bane of Joe's existence, along with myself, which we tried to provide on playback.tv/Acres Fast Break. Great part of it. I saw you guys were on there. I kept looking back. Do you guys need me to turn off? No, you're still talking. No, you're still talking. No, you're still talking. Well, after the draft, so I didn't turn it off until you guys were all gone. But great part of Playback. Thank you so much to everyone that was part of it. But Sean, you have a rant, and then I have a question for you afterwards.
Yeah, I have a rant, all right. The only good thing that part of the United States is good for, and I'm talking about Carolina, there are three things. One, beautiful vacation spots. Excuse me, I'm speaking now. You got to speak. Now shut the fuck up. Are you finished?
You frequent cigars regularly, so don't act like you don't like the Carolinas.
I've never smoked a cigar from the Carolinas.
I'm sure you have at some point.
I have not.
So I don't want you to
tell you.
I don't
I
want
can
you to
tell
act
you.
like Billy
I can tell you that I only smoke commie cigars.
trying to be Billy Badass over here.
No, I only smoke commie cigars. So there's no way I smoked a cigar from Carolina. Anyway, there are only three good things that state is good for: vacationing, 2, excellent barbecue, and then it's car racing. That's it. That's it. They don't know jack shit about football. They don't know horse shit about hockey. And they don't give a flying fuck about basketball outside of Duke and Carolina, only when they're good.
Haven't the Hurricanes won a couple of Stanley Cups?
Yeah, and they still don't give a shit because you know why, Joe? That arena is out in the middle of nowhere. You have to drive an hour and 20 minutes.
I mean, that's
From the
Tar Heel country.
Sorry, isn't Duke
That's
there?
Tar Heel country. That's NASCAR country,
Isn't
guys.
North Carolina there?
Yeah, so you have to drive from the airport to get to the Hurricanes arena. It takes about an hour and 20 minutes, Joe. Nobody gives a shit about hockey there. Oh, the Hurricanes won? Oh yeah, what time is golf? What time are we taking off at the course? And God forbid the Panthers are any good. I mean, honestly, Gerald, outside of Cam Newton, there was nothing goddamn well interesting about that Carolina Panther squad. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I played the position of middle linebacker, and I love Luke Kuechly. But he's as vanilla paste as you can get as a human being.
So let's get back into the
I'm
Lakers
done.
here. Yeah, because that rant on North Carolina, I can see the whole state of North Carolina coming after you. We keep that up. But I want to ask you, my friend, just a long shot here, but Eric Dixon offensively, no one was better offensively in the NCAA yet last year. Scoring leader, 41% from 3, 90%. That is, again, the same 3-point college line that also Adou shot from as well. But 90% from the free throw line. I do have my concerns about Eric Dixon. I know that Stone did as well, but Stone actually kind of liked the undrafted pickup because he was undrafted, but the Lakers did go ahead and come to an agreement with him. 6'8", 250. I'm concerned that he didn't rebound well at all because he was so focused on the offensive end and defensively. Obviously, that's why he didn't get drafted, i.e., Austin Reeves. But could this play itself out to be where Eric Dixon might ultimately play better initially than Adou? Maybe in Summer League?
It wouldn't surprise me, Gerald. It wouldn't surprise me. That being said, I think, look, it could have been anybody. It could have been anybody. It happened to be Adou that the Lakers hard capped themselves for. And of course, there's going to be a lot of undue pressure put on them because of that. And people are going to have high expectations when there shouldn't be any expectations whatsoever right now. That being said, Gerald, I mean, it could turn out that Dixon might be the better pick short term, given his scoring prowess and the fact that, you know, when Dixon gets to the free throw line, he knocks him down. You know, if you could get buckets and knock down your free throws, you're going to be on the floor more than somebody who's athletic, hustles, gives you a good transition layup here and there. But if they can't shoot and they can't get their own shot, they are not valuable on the court as one of your 5 players. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. This is the game now. If you can't shoot, you don't belong on the court. You have to be able to shoot at every single position. You have to be able to shoot. It is a requirement. And Dixon can do that, but he can't do much of anything else, Joe. That's why he went undrafted. I think he's going to need a lot of development, especially defensively, because I saw a few Villanova games, didn't like what I saw from him defensively. Like it's the NBA is a different game defensively. So for a lot of people out there say, oh, well, if this guy can't play defense or that this guy's defense, watch college and then please then evaluate NBA defense. All right. Because it's night and day. And personally, Gerald, as far as undrafted players are concerned, if you want a guy who can shoot and play defense and can create for others, Ryan Nembhard. Aurora, Ontario's Ryan Nembhard, who happened to be Andrew Nembhard's younger brother, played at Gonzaga, Gerald. Excellent season. And who signed him, Gerald?
Who signed him was the Dallas Mavericks. But Joe, let me get back to you. Was there anything in the second round that took place where you said to yourself, I really wish the Lakers might have leaned in that direction? Again, a lot of these kids in the second round won't make a rotation. A lot of these kids in the second round will probably find themselves out of the league in 2 or 3 years. That's very common right now. But do you see yourself with any of those kids that you saw as picked in the second round or undrafted that you think, hey, he might do something in this league worthwhile?
I thought the Lakers would settle for Amari Williams, and then I found it interesting that Amari went to the Celtics. That's not a good sign.
He's the best rebounder in the draft, Joe. He's the best rebounder in the draft.
I'm gonna compare the Celtics to a team I'm familiar with. That's the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, since Ozzie Newsome he's not there anymore. He's not in the position now, but when he was there, I used to, and of course his proteges and the residual of that has continued a little bit. When they draft someone, my antenna goes up. Oh man, if they got him, that means something. They know something. I thought Amari would be the pick. I didn't talk about it. I just thought it was just in my head. But I'm pretty positive that they were moving up to get Kalkbrenner. I would put money on it. But then I thought, okay, he got picked by Charlotte. Now they're going to get Amari Williams. They do need rebounding. He is a center. And getting who they got, I don't know much about him. I really don't. But if Stone is happy and if he's the best player available at that point, I'm like, all right, well, that's what it is. But then I started thinking, oh man, Amari went to the Celtics. What does that mean? Did they miss out on that? But then at the same time, there's no center in this draft that was going to make a difference anyways in the second round.
No, there's no one center that does everything well.
The Lakers, the Lakers
if they stretch the floor, Joe, or play up well offensively, they're, as Bloodhound says, they're weak defensively. Like Renault, for instance, or Wolf, very good offensive players. Defensively, it's suspect. If they're good defensively, like Kalkbrenner or Williams, they're very limited offensively. So there was a lot of big bodies out there, Joe, but none of them have the two-way skill that I think a lot of these teams are coveting.
The Lakers need a seasoned center to make this work. They don't need someone that they got to develop in the second round. As good as Zubac was as a second-round pick, he still needed a few years to develop.
Yeah.
Lakers
Remember, the
time.
Lakers, the reason why he went in the second round is because the NBA teams wanted to, whoever drafted him in the first round, were going to send him back out to Europe, and he didn't want that. That's why he drifted into the second round, Joe.
It's important to understand that this team has to compete for a title this coming year, and they're going to need to somehow replenish their holes and also develop what they bring in and somehow hang on to the guys that are starters right now that probably shouldn't be. Guys like Rui, guys like Austin. And Austin turning down a 4-year, $90 million contract, while not a surprise, I just kind of half smiled and said, that's your market, dude. If anybody else pays him more than that, they're stupid.
Well, I told you that was going to happen, but he's got people talking his ear that are going to ask him to get more money in the offseason next year.
It's worth a shot, I guess, but I'm not paying Austin more than 20 mil, 21 mil, whatever it is that it would end up being. I just you don't do that for a guy who should be a 6 man of the year candidate every year on a championship team. He's not. He can start, but he's not a starter on a title team. And Rui,
not during the playoffs.
Rui could be he could be that fifth guy, maybe the fourth guy, but this team needs athletes, guys that can get to the rim, guys that can shoot. Austin can shoot somewhat. Rui can shoot, but it has to be a perfect set for him to get the ball with separation that he isn't creating. He can't create separation. That's not his game. Austin.
What? Okay, that's true. That's all true. So the Lakers developed him from a shell of what he was in Washington, and now he's one of the best open three-point. See, this is what Pelinka does, ladies and gentlemen. He wants to win the deal, but Gerald, he always ends up fucking short selling his own guys. He did it as an agent, and now he's doing it again as an executive. He would pull that shit that Joe just said about Rui. Yeah, he's a great three-point shooter, but he has to get open, and who the fuck cares? It goes in the hole. And he's a top 5 shooter because of it. But a lot of people don't want to see this. They love oversimplifying shit. And Pelinka's done this way too much. And I don't give a fuck that the Guggenheims and Walters are taking over and it'll be gumdrops and lollipops in 3 years, Joe. I'm in reality. It must be nice living in Neverland. Me and Gerald will call you when you need a break from fucking reality.
I'll do it right here. I'll call you on my Lakers phone.
Yeah.
Hi, Joe.
Fuck.
I'm kidding you. I'm kidding you. Joe, any thoughts on what Magic was saying?
Yeah, Magic Man has got his head up his butt.
I do not. You're the one living in Never Neverland.
I'm not living in Never Neverland.
You are.
The results.
You are.
The results
I'm
are already there.
I'm hearing somebody who just got back from speaking with Tinkerbell.
No,
Well, let's
no.
Yeah.
This shift just
you
happened a
either
few weeks ago.
suffered a blow to the head or got some funny pixie dust sprayed on your head.
No.
Yeah.
This is going to take this. It's not officially done yet. Wait for it to officially be done.
Yeah, of course.
It won't be done till later this year. Officially,
the credibility is already there. We already know what's going to happen next. You got to let it play out now. There's nothing you can do. That's it. Mark Walter and his group.
You in life, just as in anything else, you make your own luck. You don't do it by going to Disneyland instead of picking up the phone and calling Colby Altman, John Horst, John Hammond, Bobby Webster, Pat Riley. I could go on and on and on. He's got all the numbers there. He's not doing his fucking job. And you know what? If he's unmotivated, leave, man. Just go. Just let somebody else do it then. Let somebody else try. At least try.
So let me say this, Joe. I mean, and then I'm going to say this to Stone when I talked to him on Saturday at 1:30 p.m. We're going to have at 12 p.m. on Saturday, we're going to have the Lakerholics. I also want to do a show tomorrow night. And I really want to focus on Austin Reeves and that under the radar stuff that went on with his extension being denied by him. But I am going to talk to Stone at 1:30, and I want to understand his thought process on why he thinks Adou is so good. Because again, Joe, when it comes down to it, who did we draft at number 55 last year? Okay, yes, I know the name, James and Bronny James and all that. But Bronny James was also a good defensive perimeter player, is what he was targeted as, who has a very suspect jump shot, Joe. And it really is going to be difficult if you do not develop that aspect of your game to be able to go ahead and stay on the floor. That's the problem that the Lakers now face by getting Adou. That's athleticism off the charts. Absolutely great, fantastic. Lakers do need that. But if he can't shoot well enough to stay on the floor, is that going to be a problem?
No, not if you surround him with four other guys that can shoot. So if you put him against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and he contains him, now he's done his job, and then the other four can pick up the slack on offense. You got to construct the roster according to those things. If you came to me and said, we get a chance to pick someone who can play one-on-one defense and consistently and has a high motor and can finish at the rim versus someone who can make 41% from the free throw line, from the three-point line, but once they get the ball down low, they're useless. Once they get on defense, they're useless. They can get bullied. I'm going to pick the guy that can play defense and have a problem maybe shooting every now and then. So I think it's an insult to say that this guy, at least based off of what I've read a little bit of the last few hours, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I know who he is. The credibility is there if Stone says he's good, because Stone is right. From my experience with Stone, he's right pretty much 90% of the time. So if he's excited about it, that's going to give me a positive feel on what he's going to be. And everything I've read in the last few hours is saying that this guy is inspirational the way he plays. And I'm using that word. I didn't read it that way, but his motor, his focus. This is not going off what Calipari said. I don't care what Calipari said. I'm going off of what the comps are. And if indeed he can stay in front of NBA players as a rookie, there's a benefit there. There's a value there. However, you have to let this roster construct before you go nuts. And if you want to say that Rob sucks ass, fine. If you want to say that Rob got lucky February 1, Fine. It's irrelevant if he stinks or not. He will not be here very, very shortly. When I say very shortly, I mean in a year or two at the latest. Okay? It's going to change. You guys are all going to get what you want eventually here. So how this plays out this summer, it's only indicative of them being able to see if they can make one more run with LeBron James on the team. That's what they're going to be doing. And what happens next year at the end, should they bow out in the first, second round? Should they make a run and win a championship? That'll determine what to do next. I don't know yet how to feel about it. I don't. I just don't. But we're going to get a chance to find out here in a few weeks what this team is going to be. And if they're able to find a center and not lose their depth and maybe get a perimeter player that can do some things, get to the basket, shoot them some threes. Now you're talking about a team that's starting to get put together right for a LeBron, Luka team. The Eric Dixon thing was interesting. Eric Dixon, I knew a little bit about Eric Dixon because, he's from Villanova. And, I've watched Villanova basketball every now and then. I'm a big Jay Wright fan. I still wish he'd be a coach. I still would wish to him come into LA, but we know that's not likely going to happen. But his comp is Julius Randle. And I kind of thought about this. How far has that particular skill set gone down to the fact that Eric Dixon didn't get drafted? And if you go back to 11 years ago, Julius Randle was picked 7th in the NBA draft.
But Eric Dixon, his shot is much more developed.
So here, so this is where
at this stage than Randall.
So his shot is more developed, and he moves apparently like him, allegedly. Like you guys like to hear that allegedly. I don't know why it was so funny when I said it. And yet, 11 years later, he's having to negotiate. Likely negotiate. Hey, don't draft me. I want to go undrafted so I can go where I want to go. I.e., like Austin Reeves. I don't know if that happened, but I'm just hearing that might have been what happened. Eric Dixon needs to lose about 20 to 25 pounds.
Yes.
260 is too big. He doesn't get to the basket very, very well, but so Julius Randle really doesn't get to the basket either. So if he's already got a shot and he drops some weight, this could be another free agent signing that the Lakers could use in the next year, 2 years, 2 or 3 years, where he becomes a integral part of the Laker team.
I mean, you don't lead the NCAA in scoring and not be somewhat offensively skilled. So he brings up, can he get the other parts
I'm
of the
theory of that. It's kind of like when a good running back in college leads the D1 in rushing. Then they go to the NFL and they're Ron Dane.
Exactly.
But then he did play. Then again, he did play at Villanova. It's not like he played at Murray State. So
surprised the Knicks didn't get him.
It's those pickups are. If it hits, it hits. If it doesn't hit, it's okay. You didn't sacrifice any time, right? Or any draft capital. We're going to find out here in about 5 days where this is going to go. And I'm finding a pattern here from all you guys, including the people on the show, and then of course in the chat room. You guys, it seems like you guys don't want to give Rob Pelinka any credit for anything right now. What's the deal with that?
You for 2 years, Joe, were ridiculing Rob Pelinka. So let's not go there. And when you say,
I'm not talking about 2 years ago. I'm talking about today.
Rob has such an up and down history, Joe. You cannot.
Don't tell me what happened 2 years ago. I'm talking about now.
You cannot excuse the fact
What did you want him to do in the second round that would have changed your mind about what he did?
I wanted him to go ahead and be aggressive and get something in the first round. Use the assets that he have to get more players, to get, like for instance, Austin Reeves.
Money. It doesn't cost you anything to
They don't
buy
have
a
the money right now.
Stop, please.
What do you mean stop?
You had
They still use VHS tapes in their freaking video room. What do you mean money? They don't have money.
You just
I keep telling you, you gotta wait until the new ownership
asked me
takes
to
over.
Explain why I hate fucking Rob Pelinka.
It doesn't matter if you hate him. They solved the problem.
Shut up.
They solved the problem.
Shut up for a minute.
No, I'm not going to shut up. You already talked enough. You're not making sense.
I wasn't here for the first 20 minutes.
Done. They just spent $10 to $12 billion to get this thing done. You guys want everything to happen today. This guy's not going to be here.
He's here now, dummy.
It doesn't matter. He's not capable of doing what you want him to do, probably, right?
Gerald, may I please?
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
So,
Go ahead.
Okay. So, unlike Sugar and Spice and everything nice in California, where they kiss your ass, I would tell Lucas straight up, it's going to be 2 years before we can compete.
We already knew this.
You just said we needed to compete for one this year. I just heard that you say that.
Right.
You didn't say no, Gerald. Gerald. Yeah. Well, what Gerald edited. I
have mentioned on the show numerous times the real offseason is going to be 2027. You know I've said that. That's when this is going to change. And that was before I found out about the new ownership coming in.
And by the way, this is on my mind because somebody mentioned this yesterday. Somebody was talking about, I'm a 6'4" kickboxer, Joe, and let's meet up. And you know something?
No one said that. No one was going to meet up with me.
He's mine. He's mine. So if you want a piece of him, you got to get a piece of me first. So if anybody,
we're talking about the raw meat guy that got arrested for threatening Joe.
What raw meat? What raw meat guy? I have no idea what you're talking about, Joe.
Yeah,
I have no idea what you're talking about. Raw meat.
Yeah. So
well, we were trying to have an interesting conversation here, and Gerald brings up raw meat for some reason.
Just type that in there, Joe Rogan raw meat, and there you go. You'll find what you're looking for. But
back to reality. But yeah, back to reality. And the problem is the here and now. You have the past, the present, and the future. Mm-hmm. Who controls the present now controls the future. Who controls the future now controls the present. Blah, blah, and Orwell, blah, blah, blah. That's what's happening all over again. Like Gerald said, it costs the Lakers nothing, absolutely nothing in the way of salary cap or asset relocation or maneuverability to move into the first round. They've done it before. They've done it in the second round. They've spent money. Only this time.
Thank you, Alan. The Liver King. That's the guy, Liver King. Go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry.
I have no idea who the Liver King is, but okay.
I didn't know until today either. But then, yeah, but go ahead. Go ahead, Sean.
Okay. So in saying that, fuck you.
You got to get to the point.
Yeah. You and everybody else in that fucking state are so blinded that you can't see the forest for the trees. In reality right now, Joe, is that the Lakers might be a 6 seed next year. Might be. If they make all the right moves. You're not contending for a title. No matter what you do. And even in 2027, that's great. You have the salary cap space and you can spend the money. But these frugal motherfuckers are always going to find a way to try and rig the game. The rest of the 29 owners are like the rest of the 29 owners in Major League Baseball. They're Nurse Ratchet. They're always going to try and rig the game so you can't get what you want. And you know what? You're right. There's resources. They could get by. We'll do it. But seeing is believing, man. You're sitting there with your stupid fucking, like that pretentious smirk right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's why a lot of people think California is the fucking place it is.
Joe, I've said this, and I've said this repeatedly over the past 3 weeks, especially after the OKC Thunder won the title. They are not infallible. They are a very beatable team. They barely made it by Denver. They barely made it by Indiana, courtesy of the injury with happened to Halliburton.
So Gerald, if the Lake, may I ask you something? If you sat there and you and Sorrow watched the Lakers lose to the Timberwolves, what makes you think they could beat the Rockets or the Thunder or Denver? And Gerald, you said it last year that you thought that the Clippers might beat the Lakers in a playoff series. So now we're getting to the nitty gritty. Yeah.
Well, let me just say
this. But Gerald, this is what I'm saying, though, Gerald. We live in the here and now, and people like Sorrow delude themselves by thinking that I'll just fast forward 3 years because I'm a fucking Dodger fan and I live in Neverland, and what happened to them will happen to the Lakers.
Let me just say this: Mark Walter,
and and this jackass thinks that he doesn't live in Neverland.
Okay. Let me just say this, Magic Man. Mark Walter is going to be an outstanding owner for the Los Angeles Lakers. When that day happens, I agree with Joe. A lot of the things are going to be alleviated, but the clock is ticking now. Boston is on the scenes. They're quietly clearing their bad. Let me finish, Magic. Let me finish, please. They're quietly dusting off their old assets that are too expensive and not going to be ready there or good when Tatum finally gets back to full health. But they're doing you have to admit it, they're doing a brilliant job of reloading and getting the pieces in place, starting now, little by little. Next summer, they'll have some cap space at this rate. They'll start to make more moves. And by the time that Tatum is ready, 2-3 seasons down the line, they'll be ready to gear up for another run, for another title. The thing is, right now, this NBA is wide open, and the Lakers should take every advantage of it right now. Use the assets that you have. Austin Reeves is a good, very good regular season player. He is not he's not a good playoff person. He's not a good person to have as far as your main starters, one of your main starters on a playoff team. You've got to go ahead and utilize him or Rui, who also might fit those parameters as individuals you could utilize in trades before you lose them in free agency. That's the problem I have. That's the worry I have. Yes, there is a possibility that Rui could sign an extension, like you said, if it's offered to him in July the 6th, Magic. But there are assets right there because the Lakers don't have a ton of draft picks. They have those two assets to go out and get additional players. And in this case, the past couple of days, they could have used a package to get a player and a high draft pick in order to get this team better sooner rather than later.
And hey, Gerald, guess what? Expansion's coming too. So you might lose Reeves and or Rui in an expansion draft.
Probably won't happen until about 2-3 years from now, but
it's coming. And you know what that also means, Gerald? That means more watered down basketball, and that means more bereft and freaking derelict talent pool that we already have. And that's another issue, is that there's only a certain pool of good to great to excellent NBA players. And because of the constraints of the cap, you need to be able to maneuver around that. But unlike other sports like hockey, where if you live in a state that provides, no state income tax, like Texas, in Florida, and you can move to Las Vegas. Funny how all three of those teams compete for Stanley Cups year in and year out, Gerald. And it's funny how in baseball, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Phillies, teams that spend money to make money, they end up being contenders as well. It's not the same in the NBA and the NFL.
But I'm not disagreeing with Joe. I do agree with him that it will be better once Mark Walter officially takes over the ownership of the team. I'm not going to disagree with you there. He's done a sensational job, him and the Guggenheims, with the Dodgers.
Gerald, but you also know that. Okay, so Daryl Morey wrote a great article in the New York Times years ago, and he talked about how in baseball there's, I forget how many rounds there are, 60 rounds in baseball drafts. So it's basically salmon. You're picking salmon out of the ocean. And in the NBA, drafting, Gerald, is a lot like elephants giving birth. A lot of those calves die and only a few live. So you have to be able to provide the resources to the ones that do live in order to thrive. That formula hasn't changed. No matter how much money and resources you have, that has not changed.
But Joe Soro has mentioned it, and Joe Poro mentioned it in the chat, that you know what, Luka, he wants to be around a winner, and you know this team right now is set up, Joe, for another 45 to 47 win team that be bounced in the first and the second round. And by the time the Lakers finally gear up and finally get the owner in place and finally get the right people, the personnel people in place, the Lakers will then have a harder challenge because there might be a dominant team in the NBA once again. Right now, it is wide open, Joe, and I think the Lakers should take advantage of it, and especially with players they could possibly lose in free agency next summer. That's why the urgency is there for me, Joe. I'm never going to question you when it comes to Mark Walter because I agree with you 100%, and I understand your great confidence that these things will happen down the line. But the problem is right now the NBA is at a situation where there is no dominant team. Yes, OKC is set up for success for many years to come, but we saw how hard it is for them to create offense in the half court. They have their flaws, Joe, and if they don't fix them, other teams will exploit them and take advantage. And I wish the Lakers were one of those teams.
I don't think this team is constructed correctly at the moment, especially with LeBron and Luka playing together. I thought initially they would play well together, but I think LeBron is too advanced in his career to be what this team would need him to be. It's not really his fault. It's just he can't play defense like he used to. He can't get to the basket at will like he used to. And if you're going to have two ball handling players on the same team, you got to be able to have the yin and the yang with that. But it's just not possible. So I'll have a better idea of what's coming once free agency is over. I don't know how it's going to play out. I have no idea. I have no feeling on it yet. Could they go get Ayton? Could they just knock the socks off of Danny Ainge and get Kessler? I don't know. I would prefer something like that because then you could probably keep the guys that are already there so that you have the depth. The future of this team, those of you who are worried about wasted prime years, Luka's already going to be given the keys to the greatest basketball team that's ever existed on this planet, and that is the LA Lakers. I would find it shocking if he ends up leaving. I just don't see it happening. I just wondering if he's going to take the 2+1 initially so that he can get a better deal in 2 years, or he takes the whole max now and just says we'll deal with the extensions down the road for another whatever. I wouldn't worry too much about Luka. I think Luka will stay in LA. The only question now is LeBron going to be playing his last year in LA? I think that's a question that needs to be answered probably next year. Anybody else that comes in, anybody that in terms of value, I like Austin. I think he's got a lot of value, but I'm not going to be crying in a corner if he leaves next year. Rui, same situation.
So you don't mind? You don't mind that he would walk away for nothing?
And I don't think they would. I think if they got a feeling at the trade deadline that they could get better, they would trade him.
Okay.
They have some time.
So.
They have some time to make that happen. I got to see how things play out. There's already been a lot of movement already in the NBA. I mean, I can't remember a list of draft picks that were constantly traded to Chicago, traded to Minnesota. I mean, this was a trade fest of a draft. I was looking at
a lot of cash too that hard capped the Lakers.
I mean, you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. You had 4 regular picks in the second round. Everything else was a trade from somewhere for something. Just a transactional mosh pit.
It shows you which teams value the second round picks. Some of them don't value them as much because of the fact that they might have an impact on their overall salary cap. And then others maybe seeing that better talent.
I felt for the first time here in the last few hours that there's this angst towards the current regime. And to me, it's a waste of time at this point. I might have felt the same way if there wasn't news that this is going to change. But I think you need to let this play out a little bit. I think and I don't think anybody's really giving the regime credit for what they did in February. Getting Luka Doncic is still one of the greatest trades I've ever seen.
But again, as I've told you before, and Arthur, I'm going to get to your comment. Truly appreciate the super chat. I'm telling you, I likened it, Sean and Joe, to a college student that has gone throughout their career and has 1 A+ term paper, but yet has a history of B's, C's, and D's, and a big F in JHS and Russell Westbrook. He has a very spotty up and down career as the general manager, player, president of basketball operations, whatever you want to call him. He has a very up and down career, Joe. And again, with the NBA as wide open as it gets right now, it may not be this wide open after next summer, after the fallout from free agency. That it might be more clear cut. There might be only 2 or 3 teams capable of winning the NBA title. Right now, there's at least 10 to 15 teams that think they can go in with the right moves and win the NBA title. And in doing that, I really think the Lakers have an open door and an open window to do it. So that's my sense of urgency, Joe. It's not to what's coming, but like Sean said, it's to what's now that I think the Lakers need to be doing. And if they let Rui and or Reeves walk for nothing without any assets in return, it's just like the Angels and Ohtani. You see where the Angels are at because they let Ohtani walk for nothing. They let Trout get old and battered up and injured without trading those guys for nothing. With nothing. They got nothing in return for them. And if Trout gets traded now, he'll get pennies on the dollar to what he once got.
Because
before you go ahead, Joe, I just want to mention, fellas, go to Neutral Corners, super chat from Arthur Johnson. We leave our wives to listen to you guys to talk Lakers at a high level, not fight. I'm trying to escape marriage flashbacks. Actually, there is a part of our audience, Arthur, that does actually like our arguments, but we all love each other after you go off the show. But go ahead, Joe. I wanted to make sure that was clear.
There's a rumor that James Dolan is trying to put a kibosh on expansion. And whenever I've heard Adam Silver talk about expansion, it's always kind of when I look at his delivery or in the way he answers the question, it's almost like we'll see. It's always the we'll see. There's no we're working on it. There's going to be a timetable where we can make this work. Nothing like that.
But the sale of the Lakers pretty much confirms that expansion is coming.
So
that pretty much confirmed it for me.
And I think it's not a good idea in my view. I think you have a couple of teams in the NBA right now that you can use to move to the places you want to go. If you really want a team in Seattle, I think for us nostalgic types, I think it's cool to see the Supersonics back. But other than that, Seattle, you can say David Stern screwed Seattle all you want, but in the end, Seattle could not figure out a way to get an arena built so that they can keep them there for whatever reason. They might have been right. Maybe they didn't want to use taxpayer money for it. Totally understand it. But that was your choice as a city to not do that. And to say, well, he worked from under us. Of course he worked from under us. How else is he going to get his things figured out? If he's telling you the truth, you're going to bitch and whine about everything.
Oh, he's a come from behind kind of guy.
Yeah, of course. I remember when Sil, when in that scene, Sil kind of looks at him. He's like, really? And you could tell James Gandolfini was kind of laughing when he said that line. I wonder how many times they had to say it before. Anyways, they want a team in Vegas because Vegas needs to get out of this rut that they're in. That's why they're accumulating all these sports franchises. They're trying to bring attraction to Vegas. The only problem with and by the way, Gerald, I didn't say this.
He's right, Gerald. I'm sorry.
I should stop
you can
saying
make that
Las
face
Vegas.
all you want.
I should stop saying Las Vegas. I should say the Strip. The Strip. Not Vegas. The Strip is the scumbags. Vegas is fine. I don't mind Henderson. I don't mind the surrounding areas of Vegas. But the Strip and their $45 shots of Patron.
Yeah, he's right, Gerald. Joe said that. And
I
didn't believe him.
You want to pay $35
him.
for a bottle of water? I thought you did, Sean.
I didn't believe him, and then we looked it up, and Joe was correct.
Oh no, it's true. It's true. There's
yes.
if you go to the wet bar in certain hotels, it's like $35.
But it's not because I didn't believe Joe. It's because I didn't believe that costs that much.
At the very least, at least when I go to a Dodger game and I pay,
don't ever go to the wet bar in a hotel room.
When I go to Dodger Stadium and I pay $6.89 for a bag of sunflower seeds that normally cost $2 at at a convenience store, at least they're presenting us Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, winning baseball, good atmosphere, good environment.
Las Vegas,
as long as you don't go in the parking lot. So you're not giving back. There was a time when the Strip would have winners. You were excited. Hey, I won 10 grand this weekend.
We just turned down 2 offers to build movie studios in this town, and instead are building a stadium for the A's.
Yeah, because it would have required tax credits that the city doesn't want to give.
That's going to ultimately make the city more money than half-empty stadiums. Or, if the Yankees are in town, it's going to be a New York home game. But the Dodgers are in town, it's going to be a Dodgers home. It's like the Raiders games. The Raiders fans travel. You've not seen inside. Sean knows as a Raiders fan. You've not seen what I've seen for the 3 home games that I went to. Yeah. Even the Falcons outdrew the Raiders fans in Las Vegas.
It's because they don't let them
hold Joe, please. This is my fandom, my fan base. I know you're an NFL expert, but please, we're poor, ladies and gentlemen, as Raider fans, and we can't really travel like Steelers fans, Cowboys fans.
Well, the Steelers fans
Giants
are 70-30. Easily 70-30 for
Yeah.
the Steelers game.
Yeah, a lot of us are from Oakland. I mean, I'm pretty good. I could afford Raiders season tickets if I lived in Vegas, but for fuck's sakes, it's 110 degrees there on a Wednesday, and I would melt. So I likely wouldn't be able to survive walking back and forth from Raiders home games. But regardless, but we're not we're blue collar, ladies and gentlemen. Like the literal blue collar, and Raiders fans can't travel, Gerald.
Yeah, I went to 3 of the Raiders homes games last season, and I saw it all. So I'll just say that. But getting back to
I've been to 2 Bills games. I could probably count the number of Raider fans in the section I was in the second one. So yeah, lots changed.
It all depends, Eric. I mean, yeah, it's about 105, 107 here in dry, but right now with the heat dome on covering most of the United States, New York and other places down south, whatnot, they've got the humidity. So that I'll take 105 in dry over 105 in humidity all day long.
Agreed, Gerald. Agreed.
But let's get back to the NBA draft. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break with Joe Soro from the Joe Soro channel. Also, as well, go ahead and support him with his great game, Corrupt, on Steam, maybe coming to Nintendo Switch 2 as well, in the not-too-distant future. And then also as well, of course, Simblades with a Y.com. And then, of course, the Magic Man, Sean Grice, who headed up our broadcast on the second round of the draft on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Yes, it is. I'm just going to say this, guys. I want the Lakers to do well sooner rather than later. But we obviously saw the Lakers are taking more of a calculated approach, like Joe had said and had anticipated that they do. I mean, Joe, maybe it's a wait and see because they want to see what Mark Walter does when he takes over the company. But for me and for LeBron, whether you love him or hate him, whether you want him the team or not, he's coming back. He's going to play at least one more season. He's going to be there. It's just that simple. There is still a window of opportunity for this team, Joe, and I just don't want to let it run out with the frustration that could possibly be had by Luka Doncic if he sees that the Lakers are not doing enough to get him to where he wants to be. That's my concern. It's more about Luka than anything else, Joe.
Well, it seems like him and LeBron have a good relationship. I don't think that's going to be a problem for Luka.
We'll see how this season plays itself out then, Joe.
I think Luka and his
Yay! A
group know
subscriber.
that what's coming is they're
For subscribing.
yeah. It's not a. This isn't just us assuming this. I have no doubt that they know. Luka knows that he is at the precipice of being the number one guy here in a city where Shohei Ohtani's the number one guy in the other place.
Yeah.
That's pretty good company to have. And Luka just turned 26. To put it in perspective, Shaquille O'Neal and Michael Jordan didn't win their first championship until they were 28. And usually a NBA elite star doesn't really hit their prime until right about 27, 28. And then they usually are there for about 4 or 5 years. And Luka doesn't need to use elite athleticism to do what he does. He's helped himself by what looks like he's getting himself in better shape. Looks like he's serious.
He looks really good. I get it. He's not hiding. Anybody that wants to take a picture of him now, go. If you see him, ask for a picture because he's glad to share his new physique, Joe, on social media.
And that's good because if Luka Doncic plays 75 or more games this coming year, it's very, very, very possible he will win MVP. If the Lakers are sitting at 2 or 3 seed, a 2 seed, let's say.
It's not possible. It's likely.
Yeah.
Don't say possible.
Well,
it's
he's a Lakers,
likely.
so I'm throwing
that has. Okay, so Joe, how many MVPs has Ohtani won?
2 in the AL, 1 in the NL.
Who gives a fuck if Luka plays on the Lakers? If
Baseball voting for MVP is completely different than in the NBA. They
I,
actually give,
I agree, but multiple Lakers have won MVPs in decades. Magic, Kareem,
yeah, but
Kobe, and now Luka. Luka will be the
Plus,
next
Luka,
one.
I think
Joe, at some point in time, the NBA awards MVPs at inopportune times.
but let me just say this.
Gerald, Gerald.
Go ahead,
No,
Sean.
go.
Just real quick. Luka will get a lot of sympathetic vote because he was taken out of his comfort zone in Dallas and moved to an entirely new situation in LA, Joe. But go ahead, Sean. That was just all I wanted to say.
No, Gerald. Thank you for. I was just about to say that goes a long way in the NBA. That goes a long way in the NBA as far as the voting is concerned. A lot of people had that sentimentality BS with KD when they gave him the MVP. A lot of people had that sentimental BS with Steve Nash when Steve got a second MVP. A lot of people had that same sentimental BS with Giannis and his first MVP. So we've seen it enough, Gerald. We know, and quite frankly, he should have won MVP last year, but he wasn't given the award. That happens sometimes too. So this one is his vengeance season. And normally in the NBA, when the player has their vengeance season, Gerald, they normally win either a championship and or an MVP. And I don't need to go down the list right now because it would take too long. But the list is so. Bill Russell lost to Bob Pettit, came back. Irvin lost to Bird, came back. Jordan lost to the Pistons, came back. On and on and on we go. This is his vengeance season. So we're going to see. But normally in a vengeance season, you win MVP.
Arthur Johnson said, cynical, not about the 36th pick, but how poorly impatient we are about youth development. Ask Dalton Connect. He didn't get regular reps. He was traded, which affected his play, which also affected his play. Didn't get regular burn. Joe, in a way, I believe Arthur Johnson's correct. They are impatient at times with their youth. The only one outstanding, obviously, is of course Austin Reeves, who they gave a lot of latitude for because he came in as undrafted, and you saw how he's matured since then. Your thoughts on this? They are impatient with a lot of their youth. There is the a lot of young players with talent that they have sent by the wayside, discarded, traded off, et cetera, that have turned out to be pretty good players in some sense. So your thoughts on this? Could that happen with Adou or even Eric Dixon if he starts to become a player? What are your thoughts on that? But again, Dalton Connect, there are some, for however much, we wanted him to play more. He has got to work on his own game himself and get better on the defensive end. So he gives the Lakers no excuses to not play him regularly in the rotation this year, Joe.
Lakers are an impatient franchise with an impatient fan base. I mean, just look at what you guys have been doing here tonight. You guys want to take Rob out and stone him to death. You're
the one that made a mask of
yeah,
Rob.
but I'm going to say this again. This time, maybe you'll hear me again. February 1 changed a lot of things. And if you're not going to give him credit for the stuff he does right, maybe you should start thinking a little bit more in common sense.
But I'm also giving him credit for the stuff he got wrong, which you don't do.
I don't give a shit what happened 3 years ago. When are you guys going to fucking listen? I don't care. It's over. Get over it. He got Luka in February when on January 31st, I was still thinking, how the hell is this team going to get out of this LeBron AD thing? He got out of it. And on top of that, you got the best owner in sports that's going to own the team soon. What are you worried about? It's done. 2025 was a successful year. The Lakers are on their way. It's coming. Relax. If they don't win it next year, which I mean, the percentage is 10, 12, 15, whatever you want to put on there of them winning it all, right? Let's just use that as a number. But I'm not going to go cry in a corner if they don't, because you have a 41-year-old LeBron James. What do you want a 41-year-old to do? What? He's not going to be able to do what he did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It's not very realistic. But there is a chance, because the competition is a little more kind of vanilla, and if they can bring in enough talent and not lose depth, maybe they have a shot. If they don't get any major injuries, maybe they hit a couple of really easy series in the playoffs, that could happen. But we're not going to know that. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm not worried. This is going to take a minute. It just happened. They just got Luka 5 months ago. They just got this new ownership 2 weeks ago. So I don't know why you guys want to flip everything in 5 seconds, and now we're supposed to be this perennial team that's supposed to win a championship. No, I'm not going that route. And if Rob sucks in the next 2 to 3 weeks, then you guys can say some shit. But can you wait a little bit? Let him. I mean, every comp from the guys online, including our own Stone Hansen, was very happy with the pick today, and they got a pretty damn good player as a two-way player. Why? I don't.
He's not a two-way player. That's the point. He is not a two-way.
It's a two-way signing.
Two-way signing with Eric Dixon. Okay.
Yeah. So let it play out. I'm just saying, let it play out. Now, when we were frustrated before, of course we're going to be frustrated. He killed a team that had just had one shitty luck injury in 2021. And even their stars said, just run it back. They didn't listen to him, AD. And then they ended up panicking because of what James Harden did going to Brooklyn. And then they went and did what they did. And then they've been reeling ever since. So my concern right now isn't really a concern, because it doesn't matter what he does. He's not going to be here. He could somehow.
Joe, do you know the name of the Yankees owner who acquired Babe Ruth?
No, I don't remember.
Exactly, because no one gives a fuck. And no one's going to give a fuck that Rob Pelinka was the Lakers GM.
Well, that's because
they got Luka.
Ago, John.
Of course, that's my point. You're making my point for me. You say, oh, well, you clowns are living in the here and now, and this is going to take a minute. 100 years ago might as well have been a movie, bro. No one's going to care about Pelinka getting Doncic. You're we could agree to that too.
Yeah, but we're not talking about 100 years ago right now. We're talking about this just happened this year.
But that's the point. 100 years from now, no one's going to give a flying shit.
What do you want him to do?
Pelinka.
What did you want him to do today?
Do your job. Do your job.
We discussed this
yesterday.
Do your
job. Show up and do your job.
We discussed this yesterday. The back half of the first round were
this guy laughed. No, I'm sorry.
The back half of the first round were all stretches.
No. Gerald, can you mute him, please?
You're not going to mute me.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to mute me.
So, I love Irvin Magic Johnson. Player, person, unbelievable human being. Has flaws like anybody else. That you motherfucker, Rob Pelinka, you were laughing at Irvin. Say, oh, where's Irvin today? Oh, is Irvin here in the office? You criticized that man for not showing up, and you fucking dirtbag. You decide that you're going to cower in your Beverly Hills home when the Lakers are down and out and the fans are unruly. You are a snake. And I'm willing to say what Soro doesn't have the guts to say. Rob Pelinka, you are a snake in the grass. And you deserve to get fired, you son of a bitch.
Well, I'm not
Sue
that
me, sue me,
harsh.
motherfucker. Sue me, motherfucker. I would love this. Go ahead and try it. Sue me for this slander, you son of a bitch.
I think you're far down on the list of who Rob wants to sue at this point. I'm just going to say this. Yes, for whatever he did in February 1st, awesome. He got handed an opportunity to get a mercurial star, and he got the job done. But he has such a varied history of highs and lows as a GM, as a player personnel individual, that when the time is right to take advantage of it, and you have assets that you could move for multiple more assets, and you don't take advantage of it, that is the problem, Joe. You spent an entire 2 rounds, and the only thing you did was move up twice, and you hard capped yourself in the process. Now, I don't know if they could have moved up into the 30s in the first place. It seemed like it was pretty easy for Phoenix to do. But then again, theirs was a little bit more beneficial because they gave away substantial picks, and the Lakers obviously didn't want to do that. But how far, if they had to go up and just keep on paying cash, could they have just reached out in the first place and got up to 36 in the first place? It's just the line of thinking, the actual transactions that he's done. It's such a mixed bag, Joe. And I understand you'd say that by this time next summer or the summer after that, the problem will alleviate itself. But by that time, Boston or another team could be reloaded and ready for another run. And it's that work to get to a world championship is going to be that much harder.
We don't know that that's going to happen.
We don't know. But again,
I'm not going to worry about it.
History teaches ourselves that. And Rob has a history of being an inconsistent
That's
GM.
fine, but it won't matter in 2 years.
Okay.
Lakers always find a way. And it's gone through different GMs, different player personnel people. The Lakers had arguably the greatest ownership of the last 46 years in all the major sports. Dr. Buss and the Buss family have produced 11 NBA championships. They've created a culture in basketball that still resonates. Just the players from 1979 until now could be the starting lineup, all 5 positions, the starting lineup on an all-time NBA team.
Which comment got you? I know that something got you.
I guess anytime Sean sees the word fart, I guess he laughs about it.
No,
that's not the one. Are you done huffing and puffing? You've been huffing and puffing for like 20 minutes. I thought there was a dog outside my room. You finished?
Rich Paul did take over today for the GM spot.
Oh, by the way, guys, our draft pick is represented by Clutch.
Yep, we mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
That's Rob's fault, right?
I mean, he's obviously letting Rich Paul.
You know what? We're on edge.
I'm not. I'm fine.
No, I'm talking about the world, dummy. But
no, you're on edge. I'm not on edge of the world.
Keep interrupting.
No, I'm not neither there. No, I'm not.
Could be ending a world war pretty soon.
I've been hearing that for 30 years.
I'm a type 1 diabetic. I might be dead before the Lakers win another
that's
title.
Fine. That makes sense.
So enjoy it, motherfucker.
At least you dated a ballerina.
Enjoy it, Soro.
You dated a ballerina and I didn't. So at least we got that one on.
Hey, you know what? I accomplished a life goal. You know, I got a blowjob in a Porsche. Did you get a blowjob in a Porsche, Joe? When's the last time that happened to you?
I don't
Yeah,
drive
that's
Porsches. I'm a
okay.
man.
Okay.
All right, let's move on here.
All right.
I drive trucks like
Intel
a real
Wild
man.
says
There's
trade
Mike.
Austin now with the first or an
Porsche.
expiring contract. I agree with Joe. He ain't worth more than 20 to 21
Only
million.
fucking Chads drive Porsches.
He had Caruso. He ate Caruso.
250K. A beautiful
money.
machine. Beautiful machine. I've gotten laid in.
Wasted
I don't know
money.
how many times.
Wasted
now.
money and wasted lay in a fucking Porsche. How
All
the
right,
fuck am
all
I
right.
supposed to?
Hey,
How am I supposed to?
your president might empty my
How am I
401k.
supposed to-
I needed something valuable.
How am I supposed to handle business in a Porsche
I needed
when
an
the
asset. I needed an asset because your president might wipe out my 401k.
I prefer the bed.
Gosh.
I'm a traditionalist.
All right, let's get back.
I don't need to compensate.
Let's get back to Austin Reeves here again. He did
Porsche.
turn out reportedly.
No compensation about it. I can
Why?
afford. I can afford.
So a
it.
mini.
So I bought it.
So a Miata can come T-bone me and kill me? No,
that's why I bought it.
No.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you. There you go. Let's focus back on the Lakers.
It's amazing how interpretations can be so bad. Rob Pelinka is not going to be here in 5 years. I'm not on edge. I'm not on edge. I don't know why you guys keep saying that. I'm fine.
I mean, I
you
think
guys are all cracked out.
I'm fine. It's everybody else around me that's crazy.
I want to ask this though. Reeves did decline the option, 4 years, $89.5 million. You don't seem as concerned as I do about losing him for nothing, because the Lakers don't have a myriad of assets, so they can't just let him walk for nothing. That's my point. And now he will not be more valuable at the trade deadline. Even if he has another 25-5 season, you cannot get more for him then than you can now. That's the point I'm trying to make, Joe. That's why the impetus is to try to improve the team now.
I don't understand where you get that assessment. Why would he be valued more now than during the trade deadline?
Because he still has a year left on his contract, Joe.
He's still going to have
at the trade deadline. He has 2 months. He's just a rental.
He's going to be playing his ass off in his contract year, wouldn't he? You can still trade him at the deadline. He doesn't lose his value.
But he becomes a rental for the other team at that point.
All right, maybe they'll sign him. Maybe that'll be part of the deal. Hey, extend me, and we'll hook you up with something we like.
You know,
whatever.
It's funny in basketball more than any other sport. That's the rarity. When a guy gets traded at the deadline, Gerald and Joe, it's very rare that he re-signs with the team that traded him at the deadline in basketball. In other sports, more so, it's like 50-50. But in basketball, it's swayed the other direction. Gerald, what percentage do you give DFS opting out?
I'd say it's really 50-50 at this point. The thing that works in the Lakers' favor, if you want DFS to stay, I'm like I told you, Magic Man, he's a 10-point a game player. Gives you some good games some days he totally disappears. But he is a part of a very weak rotation. So you losing him for nothing, it obviously would hurt you. No matter how you evaluate DFS. But the thing that works in the Lakers' favor is that he is not, or probably going to be very difficult for him to get more money in free agency this summer, because there's so many teams that are cash strapped right now. So many teams outside of Brooklyn and possibly Detroit that can actually pay him any real money. So if he opts out, Sean, it's because somebody's already been under the table illegally, I might add, has probably told him that he could be worth more money out in the open market.
Yeah, Gerald. I mean, given what's happened, I mean, for all we know, he's just going to re-sign with the Lakers. I think Yeah, I think that,
I'd
this
say
is
it's
all
50
kind
50
of,
though.
yeah. I mean, it is 50-50, but generally speaking, like, I understand what you're saying, Gerald. Like, he is a regular season player. And honestly, I don't like, I understand the value of great ownership in the NBA. And obviously the Dodgers have been a top-notch group, but there are different constraints within the NBA that even pockets of money can't get you. I mean, Ballmer's tried forever since he's been in this league, Gerald, to get to a finals, to win a finals. It hasn't happened for him. The only real guy who's benefited from the system was Joe Lacob. And Lacob benefited from it for two reasons. One is he took over the team when they were in mid-transition to being a championship team. Two, Steph Curry had injury problems with his ankles early on in his career, and he had to sign a discount with the Warriors, Gerald.
Yes. Plus, also as well, you got the new TV deal. You also
That
got to mention
happened to just exponentially grow the cap
and so they
space.
can slide Kevin Durant in there.
Well, the Lakers, we signed Luol Deng and Timofey Mozgov, and a team like the Warriors ended up signing Kevin Durant. That being said, there were circumstances there, and there was an environment that provided Lacob with the opportunity to build that dynasty. Those same parameters do not exist for the Lakers. They don't.
So
So hold on. The Warriors had the Splash Brothers. The Lakers have one superstar. They have Luka Doncic. The Warriors also had innumerable cap space at the time because they also benefited from Gerald. Andre Iguodala originally signed with the Sacramento Kings. But then when word spread that the Warriors really wanted him, he backed him and his agent backdoored them literally and went to Golden State. So there were a lot of parameters there that fell in Lacob's lap. That though it doesn't exist with the Lakers, it's a different cap now. It's a different system. That was a soft hard cap. This is a harder cap. And it's not like you could keep trading draft picks like in football and hockey and just get returns and just live year to year. You can't do that in basketball. It's different. The development of these guys is different. It's diluted. If you look at the development between a rookie in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and now, Gerald, it goes from this. Normally, 90s, about 2 years. And then 2000s, it was about 2.5, 3. And now it's around 4 or 5 before a guy really starts to develop.
So just let me go ahead and talk to you, Joe, about this real quick. So we have said before, Joe, that we think Austin and Rui are best laid plans as a 6th and a 7th man. Is that not correct? But right now they're your starters.
Mhm.
So you don't see fixing that as being a problem? You don't that the Lakers should address sooner rather than later?
Well, they're going to need to get a legitimate starting center that's got value, and then you need a perimeter difference maker that can shoot and get to the basket. Those are my two wants. Now, I would like to solve those two problems by keeping Rui and Austin, and you can still start Rui and have Austin come off the bench. If Austin doesn't want to come off the bench, trade him. Should you pick up those players?
Because remember, he realistically, Joe, only has, because he's what, 28? Austin Reeves is 28?
I think he might be 27.
Okay. Well, he's going in his 27, 28 year. He'll be 28 this in the summer when he's a free agent or whatever the Lakers are going to do with him. The thing is, he's got one opportunity to get a large contract. I think that's what it really comes down to, Sean and Joe. He's got one opportunity only to get a 4 or 5 year contract with a really hefty price tag. And I think he's been told, and wisely so. If I was advising him, I would say you do not want to be a six man. You want to be a starter, get your 25-5, and see if you can get paid $30 to $35 million a year on the open market, which Joe and I agree we would not pay him. But the thing is, if you are him and you're faced with the reality that you may have only one opportunity, Magic Man, to get a multi-year contract at over $100 million, you might as well try and take it.
No, he made a major mistake. Now, if he gets hurt, that money's gone, and he wouldn't even.
Well, he has a player option. He has a player option.
Austin Reeves is not that guy. And with the way the salary cap is, the way the CBA is set up right now, you can't tie $30 to $35 million on a guy that can't perform when it matters on top of everything. You're going to pay this guy $35 million to be a fourth. He would need to be a fourth option for him to really benefit a team.
I mean, Washington alone has 2 players that are limited.
Does he want to go play for Washington and Charlotte and make the money? Okay. But is Charlotte and Washington going to want to pay him that money?
Well, I think somebody will pay him that money, and he might end up on it.
I heard this in his last contract. Everyone was yapping about, especially Laker fans. Oh, you better pay him $25 million a year. He ended up getting 14.
I didn't say he was worth that much. I'm just saying if you were advising him, you would be telling him to go for it and ask for that much come next summer, whether it's from the Lakers or someone else.
I don't know. I'd rather take $90 million in my hand than see if I can get 120 and risk turning into Isaiah Thomas.
I mean,
because
Kyrie,
if he gets hurt.
Kyrie just got $120 million.
Kyrie's different. Kyrie's
he's got a pedigree, Gerald. He's got a pedigree.
Kyrie's a Hall of Famer.
He's also out for an entire year, Sean.
Yeah,
but Durant gave hope to those who tear their knees and their Achilles. He tore his Achilles in 2019, and he's still performing. He might not be mentally there, but his physical game is valuable.
Yeah, Gerald, I think Kyrie's ability to create off the dribble is going to make up for his lack of explosiveness that he used to have. I really don't see that being a problem for Kyrie.
Okay. I'm just saying that, again, when it comes right down to it, we'll see what happens. I just know if I was advising Austin, that bigger money is out there. And if he just does anything like he did this year, he's going to be in line to getting more than 4 years and $89.5 million. And as Moses says, it's really a 2-year deal. Is it a player option on the end of Kyrie's contract? I don't know for sure. No one can.
I don't know.
I'll take a look on it. But again, I'm not trying to argue with you, Joe. I'm not trying to argue with you, Sean. I'm just telling you, for me, seeing the way that the NBA right now is so open, because OKC, for all the picks they have, for all the young talent they have a lot of vulnerabilities on that team. And I just think if Rob Pelinka uses those assets wisely now or very soon, the Lakers do have an opportunity to build around Luka and at least give LeBron one last run. Again, whatever you think about LeBron, it's understandable whether you yay or nay on LeBron. Again, I think if you build wisely, Joe, and you have a GM that can do that job correctly, this team could very much be in the thick of things this time next year in the playoffs.
Yeah, if they can fill the 2 spots they need without giving up Reeves and Rui. So if they get a difference maker on the perimeter for the MLE and then somehow find a way to get Kessler without giving up Reeves or Rui.
See, that's the problem that you might have to.
No, that's the only way it works. Not because I'm high on Reeves and Rui. It's not about that. They serve a purpose. They're good players. They're still good players, and you will have the depth. You need depth with this team right now because you don't have a lot of money to spend to go get what you want. And there's not really a lot of those guys available unless there's a trade. And LeBron has a no trade clause, so you can't trade LeBron.
Gerald, I'm
Yes.
just about to post something here. Unfortunately, we couldn't get him for the series, but we Lakers Fast Break has had Chris Hine from the Minneapolis Tribune on before, and Chris is known for getting executives and players, not just on the Wolves but on other teams as well, to really regurgitate how they really feel. And this is a perfect example. This is what Tim Connolly had to say, Gerald. If you want to read it out for the audience.
And by the way, is Tim Conley still going to be a free agent this year or not? I did not hear him signing an extension.
I didn't either.
It's very interesting with the new regime coming in place and getting the Minnesota Timberwolves at a much lower price than what they're actually valued at now. Way to go, Alex Rodriguez. But Tim Conley on trading pick 31. It was really curious how agent-driven the second round became. We called players left and right, and there was 20 deals done before the draft started. It was interesting. Number 31 is fun, but it's probably not as fun as we thought it was going to be.
Well, there you go. That's honesty right there. And see, Gerald, how we know what we're talking about when we say that this game is really political. The relationships are political. The agent-driven second round is floored with it. And it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And that's why a lot of these guys end up trying to make up for their Fugazi mock draft, and they end up looking even more foolish 3-4 years down the line because, again, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And that's why a lot of people's mock drafts end up burning in cinders.
By the way, according to Shams Charania, the deal does include a player option in the 27-28 season. So this could be a 1-year deal in essence for Kyrie Irving if he doesn't come back this season. So just a point of notation there. Just want to go ahead and mention on that. But yeah, Joe and Sean, overall a very interesting draft. Again, clutch, still having the issues. I don't know if I'm hoping that will change once Mark Walter gets. That's one of the things I do hope that changes, Joe. Once Mark Walter takes over, gets his own personnel in there, is that we will not be burdened or guided substantially by what we've seen from the Clutch organization, because it has come with its good and also it's not so good during the past few years. Again, your thoughts? Is there, when you see the Dodgers, do you see anything really driven by agent, or is it more just the people who are in place with the Dodgers?
Your question is there
the team? Are the decisions that are made guided even somewhat by the agent?
No. Scott Boras, who's a horrendous.
Oh yeah, that's a name.
Agent. Whenever Scott Boras is in the picture, guys like Corey Seager used him. I think Trey Turner did as well. As soon as those guys became free agents, they didn't even deal with them. And it wasn't all Scott Boras. It's just, but then again, Scott Boras did, I think, work with Teo. Was it Teo? I think it was Teo. No, wait, not Teo. I have to look.
Was it Kike?
No. Kike was coming back no matter who his agent was. The Dodgers they already have planned. Like, the reason why they didn't sign Trey Turner was he was a low leverage hitter when it mattered, number one. So you're not going to sign him. Corey Seager wasn't signed because he didn't take the offer that they thought he was worth. And he's not always available. He had a pretty extensive injury history. They didn't sign Manny Machado because they didn't think his temperament was right for the team. They let Yasiel Puig go at some point or traded him. The Dodgers don't really mess around with kind of the mental and physical part of their roster. They want guys that are not only good players, but also good in their minds. So if you look at if you look at their lineup from 1 to 9, I'll and it changes obviously here and there, but I'll give you the normal lineup. Number 1, you have Shohei. Shohei is by far probably one of the nicest, most respectful players you'll probably ever see, especially with that kind of a stature. I mean, when you talk about Babe Ruth, I mean, this guy is Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth in his time was known as a guy that was very, very liked. He was a likable guy. He was a very cool guy, right? Then you have Mookie Betts, too cool for school. Freddie Freeman, probably the nicest guy in the majors, right? Then you have Will Smith, who's all business, no, you know, the kind of guy that doesn't like to be famous, right? He likes to work under the radar and handles business, and everyone respects and loves. Then you have Teo, who is an absolute fan favorite. Everyone loves Teo in the dugout, in the organization, and the fan base is absolutely obsessed with him. Then you have Andy Pages, who's coming into his own here after a few years. Kike obviously is loved. Rojas is loved. Good, clubhouse guy. You got the Hae-Sun Kim, who's got a really good rep from Korea. Everyone loves him here. Edman is another guy that's just kind of like the Will Smith of the second baseman. They all have the same traits. Good players, come through when it matters, and some of these guys are going to be first ballot Hall of Famers. That's what's going to happen with the Lakers. So get ready. It's coming.
We'll see. Obviously, it has to get approved by the rest of the owners. It goes through, but it will go through later this year. The valuation could be as high as $12 billion. So at the end of the day, Mark Walter could pay as much as $12 billion for the Los Angeles Lakers. And then obviously we'll see if Jeannie stays in place as the governor for the foreseeable future, like she had said, or like had been intimated at the time of the sale offer, I should say. And then also as well, will Rob stay in place going forward as well? But again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We will have most likely a show tomorrow delving more into Austin Reeves and the aftermath of what happened during the course of the draft. And then also as well on Saturday, we're going to have the Lakerholics at noon. And then Stone Hansen, the guy himself, our draft expert, will come on the show. He loves the things that the Lakers did during the second round today. So he'll go ahead and explain why at 1:30 p.m. Pacific on Saturday as well. But looking forward to that. Plus also I did mention for the Summer League, whether I'm at the game or I'm here at the office, I'll still have up for playback. I'll still have that up for people to join us there, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. So definitely looking forward to that. And of course, we'll have updates for you if there's any trades, possible signings. LeBron has to make a decision here in the coming days, whether or not he wants to just play this next season out or get a 1-and-1. We'll see if that works out or how that works out. And then, of course, also as well, free agency begins at the end of the month as well. So Mateja says Lakers are such a mess right now. Luka's going to kill next season no matter what. Just do your part, Lakers. I agree, Mateja. The Lakers, Joe, need to do their part. Because I do agree with Mateja. If he stays healthy, Luka is going to have an awesome season like you did. You said, very quite possibly the MVP next year.
Yeah, let it play out. See what happens. We're going to find out here in a few days when free agency opens on July 1. And then we'll find out if Austin's going to get traded, if Rui's going to get traded, and if the Lakers are somehow able to get a center without giving up too much for that center. It's you got to let it play out. There's nothing else to talk about. As far as how the draft went out the last couple of days, let that play out too. But that one's going to take a little longer. Rookies in the NBA do not rarely affect a roster. Rarely. They do good things here and there, but they're not always relied on. As good as Wemby was his rookie year, They still didn't make the playoffs. As
What
great
about
as
tell
Shaq,
that to Dallas?
as great as Shaq was in 1993, 92, 93, they went 41-41 that year, and he had an unbelievable season, one of the best rookie seasons you'll ever have. It's very difficult for basketball players in the NBA to win in their rookie year and be that integral part of winning in the playoffs, or even get to the playoffs mostly. As far as Dallas is concerned, Dallas has if Kyrie was healthy, they would have been a playoff team right away, and Cooper Fly could be that guy that could break that could be the anomaly, but not likely, even still. It's very hard.
Well, we will see what happens. It is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break, and we'll be here with you all the way to find out exactly what will happen. Will there be any moves made? Free agencies. The Lakers still have, I believe, an MLE of $5.6 million. Of course, the minimums to toss around as well. We'll see if they can stay under the second tax apron and how they can continue to skirt that. And of course, hovering over all of this is what LeBron will decide to do here in the coming days as well. So we will go ahead and report on that. A big shout out to Magic Man Sean Grice. Did a great job. Yeah, just absolutely fantastic for him on playback. Joe, sensational job as well. We're always good, guys. Sean and Joe, we always have their fun. We always have our fights between us, but we're always good in the end. Well,
yeah, Dev X-Ray loves Sean Grice. He's been complimenting him a lot on the chat.
Yes, but okay, there has been times that there's been a little bit stuff behind the scenes, but it's all water under the bridge. So again, for Joe Soro. By the way, when are you coming back with the Joe Soro experiment for the guys on the Joe Soro channel? Just want to go ahead and give that a big plug too for you.
I don't know yet. I don't know.
Quietly, very quietly, the Dodgers gaining speed on the MLB's overall best record.
They're tied right now. They're tied with Detroit.
They're tied with the Tigers, and there you go.
This was not. This is nothing the Dodgers do in the regular season should ever surprise you. But the depth is only setting the stage and what this team could be. If this team has 4 healthy starting pitchers going into the playoffs, you might as well just call it a year.
Well, I noticed you the other day on the experiment because I was listening. I was watching, and then you and Jeff, because you had talked about how it was kind of substandard season. But if the Dodgers have the best overall record for whatever season it is, it just tells you that the level of excellence, no matter how up and down the season has gone for the Dodgers, it's still better than anyone else in baseball right now.
The Atlanta Braves won 14 straight division titles between 1991, I think 2005, 2004.
Mm-hmm.
They were the best, most consistent baseball team I had ever seen up until what the Dodgers have done since 2013. And they already have one more championship than that Atlanta run had. If the Dodgers win the championship this year and go back to back and win 3 and 6 seasons, especially with how baseball is in terms of parity, even though they say only the rich win, which is not true. There hasn't been a repeat champion in 25 years. The Dodgers will just continue to reaffirm that this is now a dynasty. 3 championships in 6 seasons in baseball in this current culture is probably a dynasty. Now I don't consider it a dynasty yet. I think if they win 4 in 7 years, then it's a dynasty. But they have 9 years of Shohei, and Shohei's 95% on his way to win his second MVP in as many seasons with the Dodgers. So now Ohtani is going to be a back-to-back MVP in the NL. He's going to have 2 MVPs in the NL, 2 MVPs in the AL. And he might end up hitting 60 home runs this year too, by the way. Oh, and he's pitching too. So then you have that. Then you have Freddie. Then you have Mookie Betts. Then you have Andy Paz, who's coming into his own. You have Teo. You have some of the best pitchers right now that are on the Yankees, on Detroit, in the NL. A lot of them are lefties. And the Dodgers right now are absolutely destroying left-handed pitching. They're number one. So when you look at the statistics, you look at the execution, you look at the depth. If they get past that dreaded 5-game NLDS playoff, I don't see anybody beating them, because that little 5-game thing is what took them out up except up until last year for 3 years straight. Because it's like if the other team just gets a little bit of momentum, they can win a 3-game series. They can win 3 games out of 5. But once the Dodgers get through that, that's my only concern at this moment. Just catching somebody on a bad day, maybe good pitching, whatever, that can happen. That's baseball. But if they get past the NLDS, I don't see anybody beating them.
Sounds good, ER. Sounds good. You've been doing it all day, and we appreciate you staying with us. But Joe, quick question: is Aaron Judge still the MVP in the AL? Because that Cal Rella kid.
Oh well, I mean, yeah, I mean, yes, true. I mean, he's
New York has the 6-game lead on Seattle. So
yeah. As of right now, yes, Aaron Judge is the first half MVP in the AL.
Pretty good. Cal kid's pretty good.
And the Yankees are quickly turning into a team that can never do enough. And when you don't win in New York, when you're a Yankee, it doesn't matter. You can win all the regular season stuff you want, but it's been a pretty big drought. This might be the biggest drought they've ever had, or it's getting close. They haven't won a World Series since 2009. And I don't see them winning it. I don't see them winning it this year either. Whether they make it to the World Series again, that's still up to debate. But I had predicted Detroit would get there to face the Dodgers at the beginning of the year. And it's looking like it's sort of going that route. Although I do like seeing the Houston Astros in first place. I want the Houston Astros in the World Series desperately. Desperately. So as much as it pains me to say, I am cheering for the Astros to make it to the World Series as I am the Dodgers, because I want that drama and I want that angst by the Dodgers to take out Houston in the World Series. That would somewhat give me a little bit of relief from the 17 series.
Yes, you did miss something, JSJ. We roasted Rob a lot more, and then Sean talked about Porsches. So yeah.
See, the thing with Sean is Sean falls into that. And I'm hoping he's listening right now. I would have preferred.
He did his internet.
Good. Much like Porsches, his internet kind of do the same thing, which is fail when it matters. The thing is with luxury sports cars is big trucks take the blame on this, but usually luxury sports cars, unless you're a Jay Leno type where they love vehicles, most of those are compensating vehicles, and they're usually driven by old men.
So Lamborghini Countach, would qualify under that?
They all would.
Okay.
I'm not saying you shouldn't get one. I'm not saying I wouldn't own a Lamborghini down the road, but I'm not going to be buying a Lamborghini to show off. I'm going to buy it because I want to drive
So
it.
I can't say as you zoom by in your Lamborghini, oh, there's a guy that's compensating for something.
You could say that, but that's not what I'm going to be doing.
Okay.
And for someone to buy a Lamborghini, much like buying a boat, because what's the point of buying those things when the maintenance alone is
you got to put them in storage for most of the time.
It's enough to choke an elephant with the amount of maintenance that you have to put into those things.
Agreed.
I'm a tactician. I don't buy things that I have to continue to feed. My truck, I'll pay 75, 85 grand for a full-size truck or a full-size SUV because there is a functionality that I need from those vehicles. Number one, When I bought my first Suburban, my kids are in it and my wife is in it. And if somebody hits them, they have a better chance of survival than driving a RAV4. So while everyone's sitting around going, well, we don't want to spend that much money on this vehicle. Fuck that. I'm spending that much money on a vehicle. Yeah, it's overpriced, but I'm going to protect my kids and my wife because I've seen what a truck can do to a RAV4. Or I'm buying a truck that I've had a history with, a Toyota Tundra, a Toyota Tacoma, especially a Tundra. I've owned 3 Tundras. There's a functionality there. There is deliveries that I make. There is trailers that I own that I attach to it. I earn a living from that vehicle. What am I going to do with a Porsche? What is a Porsche going to do for me besides hurt my knees? And I don't have knee problems.
I don't know, Osmosis. I don't think it's a fetish with Joe and elephants, but
when did I say elephants before?
I think you did once before, but that's just me. But again, it is the Lakers fast break. It's, of course, Joe Soro and myself.
So in a nutshell, I'll put a button on this. In a nutshell,
of course,
I see no value in my current state of having a vehicle like that unless I rented it to have fun. And if I did buy those vehicles, it would be at that point where I had such FU money that I do it just to have it. But I don't, it doesn't serve a purpose for me. I don't need to compensate. I already know what I have. The plumbing works well. The plumbing looks well. But I'd prefer to have if I had a choice of a vehicle, it's always going to be something that I can use. And I'll dress it up a little bit more. Yeah. I don't even like souping up the vehicles. I usually stick with a high-end stock. Like I'll go to the Platinum series as long as it's stock, because when you go through places like Vegas, when you got to go to the underground garages and things like that, I don't want to have to worry about it scraping anything, or I can't get through here because it's too tall or too high. So yeah, everything is about strategy. Getting in and out of wherever I'm at as quickly as possible. That's the point of those. That's the point of that.
Chad is just like
and bragging about getting BJs in a Porsche. Bragging about BJs, and of course you're going to get a BJ in a Porsche because some skank thinks you're rich. Any man who shows his riches can get something from a certain faction. But can you do it driving a Corolla? Because that's the baller. Can you do it in a Corolla or a Camry? I still remember to this day, I had this discussion with somebody I didn't even know. Oh, man, Justin Timberlake gets all the chicks. I go, of course he gets all the chicks. He's famous. I go, do you think Justin Timberlake's going to get all the chicks if he was working at Big O Tires? Maybe the local divorcee with a couple kids, sure. Maybe that one chick that likes him, sure. But chicks, all the hot chicks don't go after guys that work at tire shops. Come on. Let's get real here. When you get a BJ driving a Corolla in your prime with a hot chick, then you have my attention. Then I'm going to say, hey, man, you got game, man.
And on that note, didn't think it would be going in that.
Am I wrong?
I'm not saying you're wrong at all, Joe. I'm just saying the conversation really went into a different direction from the NBA draft. But if you are watching this after the fact, please let us know your thoughts, not on the Porsche, please, because I know that's where most of your minds are going to go to, on the Lakers draft, Lakers future, the Lakers with Austin Reeves. Should they make a trade now or later? What about Mark Walter getting ownership down the road? What's going to go on with that? The draft choices, the draft choice, and also getting Eric Dixon. Let us know your thoughts on that. Please Go ahead and make sure you like and subscribe. Come on, if you guys can get to the point where Jovan Buha can walk away from The Athletic and do this thing with the Lakers on YouTube and Substack or whatever he's doing on his own, can you at least help us out? Please get us to that point. I mean, Dan, the Lakers fan, can do this, and he's just one dude talking to you guys. You guys don't get entertainment value like this on those channels. They're decent, they're good, they're informative. I get it, but we're better. So please give a shout out to everyone out there that loves the entertainment and information that we provide right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast. So for Joe Soro from the Joe Soro YouTube channel, and also as well the Joe Soro Experiment on playback, it is me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this and truly appreciate you joining us. We'll be back, I think, tomorrow. Try to see if I can get on Legend and anyone else who wants to stop by. We'll talk about the NBA draft. And then Saturday, we've got not one, but 2 shows scheduled for you on Saturday afternoon. Please join us as we continue to talk Lakers as they head into free agency right around the corner, right here on the Lakers Fast Break podcast.